What's good, people? It's about that time to randomly relate reverse rants, no hate. So I have a video that I'm about to do right now. In this video, I'm going to say something that's going to make some people go, oh my God, I can't believe it. And the rest of you that understands, I stand on principles, which means you know that when I say anything, I'm not coming from a space of hate. But because I chew your ass out for lying and being a fraud, that's because you give me a reason. You give me ammunition. You give me the material. If you're not lying and making up shit, then I wouldn't be talking about it. So, there's a video, a short video of Jared Anderson brushing his hair. And he says in this video, to all the people that didn't bet on Joseph Parker against Deontay Wilder. Basically, he said something like, hey, y'all missed out on y'all money. And he says stupid butts or some goofy shit. And he's standing there and, okay. See, now, let me say this. So, Jared Anderson, he bet on Joseph Parker to beat Deontay Wilder. Okay, cool. Now, this is what I say in terms of what Jared Anderson said. Why don't you fight Deontay Wilder if he's willing to take that fight, which I doubt it, and bet on yourself, right? One thing I have to say, okay, and I'm never going to change my tune on something unless I have reason to. And that would mean that there's a change in what I'm speaking against, and a change for the better, because I don't just make up things to say. Yes, Deontay Wilder has had a career of fighting and knocking out journeymen, okay, and basically guys who are not really dedicated fighters. C-level fighters, D-level fighters, E-level, F, whatever, okay, yes, okay? His record shows it. The rankings show it. Okay? We know that. He had two guys on his resume that were top level, and he lost to both of them. We see that. Facts. He has no wins over any elite level fighters. Okay? And for those, but he won the title. Well, yeah, Bermane Stiverne, we know how he got his belt. We know who he fought to get his belt. Charles Martin once had a belt. Trevor Bryan once had a belt. Okay? So let's not play that game. And you guys know where I'm going, what I mean by me even bringing those guys up. Okay? Simple. But at least Wilder was getting in there. And he's 38 now. Jared Anderson, on the other hand, the fact that the guy is saying he want to fight 2 or 3 more years and he doesn't love boxing, well, he sounds similar to Wilder saying he didn't really miss boxing, he doesn't need boxing anymore, and how he has investments outside of boxing, blah, blah, blah. Okay, whatever. But bottom line is, at least Wilder can say that he has 40 plus fights, and he did at some point at least hold the WBC. Now, for Jared Anderson, he's just speaking and saying what he said, but I've heard him speak highly of Wilder. But isn't it funny how he bet against Wilder, against Parker? So maybe the kid has more sense than people think in terms of being realistic with, who he think will beat who in the fight. Now, who knows? That doesn't mean we all are going to agree with who we think would beat who in the fight. That's fine. But if you're betting on fights and you're so interested in making money, right? And that's pretty much what the video was about. Whoever didn't bet on Joseph Parker and make this money and call them stupid butts or whatever. But I'm saying, listen, you're a guy that we want to put in conversations about stepping up and fighting the best fighters. So for a guy to have something to say about a guy who at least went in there and at least went in there and can say he made a living off of this shit, made a lot of money off of this shit, and despite all the confusion and all of the controversy and all the lies and all of that, that he at least did go in there and do it. Now, Jared Anderson had a step-up fight. You really can't consider, you can and you can't. You can in terms of experience, that he's just been fighting longer than Jared Anderson. That was against Charles Martin. Let's not play this game, man. Charles Martin, shaky, iffy, underachieving. I can't even say underachieving. Never really accomplished much of anything. Okay, so Charles Martin is pretty much a very battered, beat up fighter, worn out. Took the fight on short notice to fight Jared Anderson, and was actually landing some good shots on Anderson. And the fact he was able to land so many clean blows on Anderson, was like, wow, okay, we gave Anderson the credit. Why? He doesn't have the experience that Charles Martin had, and that's pretty much what carried Charles Martin through that fight, was his experience, but not so much anything with his. He's not like he's not like a really skillful fighter. I mean, you know, come on, just saying. He was beating the shit out of Luis Ortiz, right? Just to let Luis Ortiz come back and stop him. But, you know, just saying. Just saying. So if you want to compare an opponent, two former opponents, well, he was doing his thing against Luis Ortiz, right? Martin, a former AJ opponent. Luis Ortiz, a former Wilder opponent. And, yeah, Martin was whooping that ass. You know, and then we seen how that fight ended. So my point, with all of that being said, for Jared Anderson, someone who don't really show much interest in boxing because he doesn't love the sport, he just do it for the money. Man, we need to see these guys step their game up and actually start to fight. They want to test themselves against the very best guys. I don't know how the Saudis see Jared Anderson, and I don't know what he thinks about being on the card over there in Saudi Arabia. He may be another fighter that's just complacent with whatever money he's making and not really testing himself, because again, here we are with a guy that's young that should be out there taking names right now. So why not? Why not look and say, you know what, at my age, I would love to get to 30 years old being able to say, I beat Andy Ruiz, I beat Wilder, I beat Parker, right? Like these guys, they move them so slow to the point where it's like, again, it's not a legacy thing for these people. They just feel like, I'll fight whoever. As long as that bag, right, that's all you hear is money, 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 money. To that point where these guys are letting you know it's all about the money. So basically, if you want me to fight this guy, and this guy right here is just as good as me, he's in the same seat as me, this is a guy that we can go in there and have a proper scrap, but they gonna pay me more to fight this motherfucker right here, fuck that guy right there. That's what it's gonna be. It's one thing to go get that, secure that bag, done come back here and pick up where you was about to, you know, start with this guy. But that's not what you're seeing most of the time. Now with all that, where do you put Jared Anderson in the mix? I mean, I would like to see him step up and fight like Efe Ajagba. Step up and fight. I don't think he beat Frank Sanchez. I really don't. I don't think he's ready for Frank, but you know, bottom line is, this is what you signed up for, to be a boxer, right? So if he's telling the truth that he only want to box another 2-3 years and there's other things he want to get involved in, so be it. But I just feel like, I think that's bullshit. I think that's bullshit. And this is the same guy that said, I don't need titles to validate me. So that goes to show you and prove the point. He doesn't care about stepping up in competition. And the only way that I see him stepping up in competition is if the Saudis see value in him and he want that money. Why? Because on his own initiative, and as far as his team goes, look at all of his opponents. Look at all of his opponents. So, at what age are they going to feel comfortable that he can step up and start to fight the top guys? So I will say, for a guy like that, he just talked about for the guys not betting. But what got my attention about it is, again, here's a guy, man, who's like, I don't know, these guys are more focused on making videos, talking about somebody else's fight, or just making noise about something else other than their own fight. Remember, it was a couple of months ago where he made a tweet telling Devin Haney something about y'all wasn't like that when we pulled up on y'all. Or and it's like anything other than what you're gonna do in the ring, that type of stuff. So I don't know. I don't even know why guys come into boxing a lot of times, because they get here and then it's like they don't really love what they're doing. I don't care what job you have. Anybody right now, if you're working a job and you don't love that job, not that you have to love it, but it makes it easier on you if you do love what you do, because now you can go to work and, hey, I got less stress, right? You can love your job, and then the bullshit might outweigh or be just as strong as your love for it, the hatred for the bullshit, the dislike for the bullshit, right? So you might not apply yourself the way you're supposed to, or the way that you want to, if you don't really love what you're doing. So this is why when it's a difference when you choose to do something versus I just need money to pay the bills and I took whatever job came along. You choose boxing. If you go get a license, you get a degree, so you chose that job. So you choose boxing. Boxing didn't people, I didn't choose boxing, boxing chose me. No, you chose to box. You didn't just wake up under some magic spell and wake up with gloves on and trunks in the middle of a ring fighting someone. You chose boxing. And I don't know what Jared Anderson's plans are, but he's one of the guys, man, that you notice like his name is not coming up nearly as much as other guys. And so now when you look at where he stands, it's like, should I be trying to get on that Saudi? On those Saudi's cards? Hey, y'all calling all these motherfuckers to make money. Hey, we over here. What's going on? Get me on this card. Otherwise, what's the purpose? I'm just gonna stick around and keep fighting meatballs. I'm cool with the money I'm getting. I'll make bets on certain fights or do whatever, because everybody's always now talking about something else that they have outside of boxing. And that's great that you have something else outside of boxing. But I'm saying, in all honesty, even though you made your bet, you bet on Parker, you were smart for that. I chose and I bet on Parker. Actually, I told you guys that, right? I made that clear in one of the videos. So yeah, I bet on Parker to win. I bet on that fight. Yeah, I told you guys. Before the fight even happened, I was betting on Parker to win. And the reason I bet on Parker to win, simply because I don't have faith in Wilder's skills. And me seeing that the only way he's going to beat Parker is if you knock him out. And me watching all those shots that Parker took from Joe Joyce. Y'all can talk all that shit y'all want about how hard the right hand is and all that. I'm not sold on that shit. I don't see this guy the way y'all do. So yeah, I made that bet because that was a fight that I'm like, you know what? I got this. And the only reason I didn't bet on AJ is because nobody wanted to bet me. There was, I don't know, because they didn't know, they wasn't too sure about Wallin. But people was, I don't know, I'm like, okay, do y'all want AJ to lose? Or y'all just scared that he won't lose? Which is it? Y'all think he's gonna lose? Y'all want to? Where y'all stand? Just because I don't mind. Because I was going to bet on AJ, and this was amongst the people I know, whatever. Yeah, so I was going to bet on AJ to beat Wallin. They didn't want to bet me on that, so they just bet with the Wilder situation, and that goes to show you my point. They thought for sure that Wilder was going to win, and I told you, when you bet with people that think with their damn emotions instead of their damn brain, well, it's easy to win bets. And I was the only one that bet on Parker. So, yeah, I rubbed it in, sitting there counting their money, put it in my clip. Told them nice doing business with them. Next time y'all feel like losing some more money, let me know. And that's the only reason I ain't bet on AJ, because then why I wanted to bet. Now, that being said, y'all, it's nothing wrong that he bet on Parker. It's nothing wrong that he even made the video, making it known that, he bet on Parker. But at the same time, I feel like, man, again, at least Wilder did get in there with those meatballs. Now, you're on the same track with Wilder in terms of your level of competition. But you fought, and yeah, he got Charles Martin at the end of his career. Because Charles Martin, again, like, he's not the same guy either. And even at best, So, so at the same time, a guy like Jared Anderson, I have to say, the fact that you made it known that you bet on Parker, that's great. It's all great. So we know that you won your money. But again, at least Wilder is in there at 38 years old. With all the bullshit excuses and everything, but at least he was in there. He has, over 40 fights. You don't. You don't. And so my thing with that is, if you took that time to look at your own boxing career and understand what you should be in there doing versus what you are doing, you realize that your career could have moved a lot sooner and actually a lot better if you had the love for the sport. You don't have to love the business of it, but the love for the sport. Because truthfully, you're not in a better position. You're in a position of you're undefeated, you're still young. You're in a better position in that sense. But you don't believe in winning championships. You don't care about the titles, you just care about making the money. Okay? Wilder, no different. He's all about the money. And he also sat on his ass and wasted a lot of time, don't get me wrong. But still in all, over 40 fights, while you, on the other hand, are sitting back letting valuable years go away because you don't love the sport, you don't see the purpose of it. You just want to stay to another 2-3 years. Okay, well, it's 2024, so let's take 3 away. You only got 2 left now that you claim you only want to fight. Point that I'm getting at is, at least Wilder was able to become a household name, while you've yet to do that. And even though, like I said, he has the right to bet and make the video, there's no harm in his video. But the fact that he made the video, you need to understand that you haven't even scratched the surface yet when it comes to turning the heads and getting people to talking about you. So why don't you do what Wilder didn't do and start stepping up to fight top guys now, while you still have your youth? Why you still here? You claim you don't want to be in the sport too much longer, but that would explain why you don't care about stepping up, because you don't need titles to validate you. You don't need to be called a champion to validate who you are, which makes zero fucking sense to become a boxer but don't want to be champion. And you're not going to get the kind of money that you want by not becoming a champ. So if you think that you can do what Tank was doing and stuff like that, oh, I can be like the biggest heavyweight in the division without actually having to prove anything, why would you want to take that route anyway, right? So why don't you be able to say, okay, well, because you're not going to fight 3-4 times a year either. So it's obvious he don't give a shit about legacy, and he's okay with walking away from the sport with no elite names on his resume, win, lose, or draw. But like I said, at least Wilder can say, well, hey man, I at least had that WBC belt. I at least had over 40 fights. You know, I lost to my 2 top guys, yeah, which he'll never admit, but yeah, fair and square, I lost to my 2 top guys, but at least I can say I did make a name for myself in this business. You understand what I'm saying? And Jared Anderson has yet to do that. And Jared Anderson doesn't call out fighters. Jared Anderson doesn't make it known that he want to fight top guys. When you ask the question, would you fight? And then you say, I'd fight anybody can get it, but then you end up fighting someone we don't know, never heard of, and basically has done nothing. What does that do for your career? And who's going to pay you huge money to keep fighting guys like that? So I feel like if that's the case, call Wilder out then. Either he accepts or he doesn't. And more than likely he won't. In fact, I'm sure he won't. Because you're high risk and low reward. But at the same time, you haven't put no real work in yet. So even though you're in a position where you're the youngest heavyweight out there, that he still doesn't even have a real buzz yet. But he can. And in terms of people talking about the next great American heavyweight, people just don't see Jared Anderson being that guy because he doesn't show any real dedication to the sport. And when we watched you on that video with Roy Jones, and Roy Jones is, showing you how to, dig with the left hand, how to, throw the hook and all that, and okay, great. We show you out there talking and walking with Roy and all that was cool. But at the end of the day, Jared Anderson is really a name nobody brings up. And in terms of American boxing, over here in America, somebody being the next great heavyweight, his name is not even coming up over here. Now, how do you expect to get to these huge bags when you're not making noise the right way? So instead of standing there brushing your hair talking about betting on Parker, I'm saying, like, come on, follow it with something better. Okay, we know you got waves in your hair and you bet on Parker, great, but what else do you have? What's coming up? What's next for Jared Anderson? Because we can sit here and, Jared Anderson, we think he's going to do this, Jared Anderson that, but then nothing happens. Then what? Then what? Because bottom line is, when we see people, I keep saying this, we keep seeing people, they do every video other than something that we really want to see. Something that pertains to boxing in a way where it means something. So, just being seen with Roy Jones and talking about how you see life and it's different for you and whatever, you don't love boxing and all, okay, cool, but your profile is still low. You need to do something spectacular against a worthy opponent. Fighters have spent careers of fighting nobodies, getting knockouts, looking good against nobodies, and then they basically get in there with top guys and then they choke. And until you fight a top level guy, okay, and win, even if it's a tough fight, that's all fine. Then that's just more entertaining for the fans. But even if it's a tough fight, however it goes, if you don't feel like you need a title to validate you, really, that's a camouflage way of ducking the top guys. I don't need to fight them. I know if I fight that guy, I'll be in position for a title. I don't need a title. Who's going to take you serious? And if this is a way of him trying to build a demand for himself, where you need to fight way more often than you do, because at the end of the day, for you to leave the sport without accomplishing anything, who's really going to give a fuck? And then who's Jared Anderson to the boxing world? A guy that came in, boxed, made a little bit of money, and then left. So what would be the purpose of that? What's the payoff for that? So if there's other things that you can do, that you can take your money and say, hey man, my kids, my family, whoever I love and stay and close to, they're going to be my grandkids, whatever, great-great-grandkids, they're going to be set for life. What else is it that you're going to do? Now, that's that man's decision and his business. It's a rhetorical question. Okay, but again, and I will say that, at least Deontay Wilder has made a name for himself. And I'm not trying to be neutral or whatever. Deontay's a fucking liar. You already know how I feel about the shit that he does, and the fucking, the lying, the two-face, talking about people and then smiling their face and talking about all that goofy shit, excuses. But at least the dude has made a name, okay, in this sport. Exaggerated, overhyped, yes, but at least he's hung around this long and he's still here. Whereas here you are in your 20s and you're not even embracing the fact that you could be the next dude making 20 million, 30 million, 40, 50 million and upwards by going in here and taking care of business. And to be honest with you, I think that if he took the business more serious and really dedicated himself to his craft, that he would have just basically knocked out Charles Martin and punished him. But see, that lack of experience and to fight a guy, let's just say it like it is. Charles Martin is a shot fighter. Okay, and what's important is that Jared got the win. And yeah, you fought a guy with more experience, but he's a shot fighter. Like Larry Holmes was a shot fighter when he fought Mike Tyson, but it only took Mike 4 rounds to get him out of there. You see the point what I'm saying? He's a shot fighter. And so, since then, what has Jared Anderson got in the ring and did? Nothing. And that's why when I hear guys talk about other fighters, it's like, you're not in the gym. You're not showing us anything in reference to your training. You're not showing us anything about your dedication to the sport. You already let us know you're not dedicated to the sport. So it's kind of like you're in the position of, okay, yeah, I bet on Joseph Parker to win. Yeah, okay, stupid butts, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, damn, this is the only time we're going to see you on the videos when you just talking about nothing. If you don't care about cementing your legacy, if you don't care about being a top dog, I don't see how you think you can be a top dog without fighting the other top dogs. You'll just be another fighter that came in, a flash in the pan. You fought some guys, you had some wins, but nobody really cares about the wins. Nobody talks about this guy. You haven't done anything yet. And all of what you've done so far, you've done something as far as being able to at least have experience gained from a fight-to-fight basis, but you have yet to make a splash. You have yet to make the noise, to put a dent in this game where, hey, he left his mark. Okay, let's take notice. This kid, Jared Anderson, is for real. No, you haven't done anything yet. So my thing is, when you get to make videos saying things like, just like rubbing it in or making fun that you made a bet and won, you wanted to make it known that you bet against Wilder. Okay, cool. But at the same time, it's like you in this sport still active and you haven't made anything happen. Put yourself in a position where people will be betting big money on you. You understand what I mean? If they're betting money on you with the competition that you fought, I find it hard to believe that anybody have bet against you against a bunch of no-names, right? So at least put yourself in a position where you can say what you say. And that way, if Wilder even felt some kind of way, or Malik Scott, anybody, and they fire it back at you, you could be able to say, hey, I fought more champions than you, I fought better opponents than you, or not really. And that's what I mean, man. Everybody's more focused on making tweets and making goofy videos. But where the fuck are the videos of you standing on fucking business in this boxing game? That's what I'm talking about. And Jared Anderson is a name that I remember when I first saw the kid fighting him, like, okay, he came out with the pimp look and all. And, okay, I see what he's doing. And all of a sudden, it's just like, all right, when is he going to step up in competition? All right, but I'm still with him. I'm okay. And it's like, everything is, and now, hey, listen, I wish the kid nothing but the best. But he's not showing anything in terms of wanting to get in the ring and mix it up with anybody. So people are not going to look at him that way. And you know what? Most people will tell you that, man, you talking shit, making fun of Wilder because you bet on him and he lost. But at the same time, not that I give a fuck, Wilder deserved the criticism or people laughing at his ass because he make up bullshit. What I'm saying is, at least, and not only that, but at least be able have yourself in position where somebody say, okay, you bet on Wilder to lose and all that, okay, fine. Since you decided to make that known, what the fuck have you done so great in your career? They'd have a point. They would have a strong point because you basically should be higher than what you are. But because you don't need belts to validate you, you don't need to be a champ to validate you, and you use Tank Davis as an example with his fight with Ryan Garcia. How Haney's the champion, but nobody cares about Haney and all. You made that clear. You, for some reason, think that that's going to be you. So my point is, you're not any more dedicated to this sport than Wilder was. And in fact, in terms of Wilder's longevity, him making it known that he doesn't need boxing, didn't miss it. We know it's all for the money now. We get it. We know that. But he's put in far more time than you did, and you basically haven't even cracked 25 fights. I don't even think Jared Anderson, I don't even think he has 25 fights yet. But either way, whatever your record is and whatever you've done, you have not done enough for anybody to even really pay attention to what you've done other than, okay, I've heard of this kid, Jared Anderson. Wilder at least is 38 years old and still here making up lies and excuses. You, on the other hand, are in your 20s and just don't seem to understand you're in a position where you can be filthy rich since money is what you're chasing. Simple. You could be in that position. So, yeah. And not only that, just the fact that even though Wilder lost his step-up fights against, Tyson Fury and Joseph Parker, and yeah, we know that he thought that Parker was a shot fighter. We know this. He said, bottom line, he didn't have confidence in himself when he was a champion. And I understand how you can have confidence in yourself when you was champ. You didn't have confidence in yourself when you was a champion. How you gonna have confidence in yourself as a challenger, right? We heard him talk about how he think AJ's mentally weak and all that, right? So Wilder has made it known he's one of those fighters that depend on you to not be yourself, depend on you to not be 100% for him to take advantage of things he could exploit that way. Jared Anderson doesn't even seem to have those type of thoughts. With him, it's just like it's just for the bag. So if I come here with wavy hair, no bruises, I want to leave. I want to go back home that way. Now I will say, when Jared Anderson's in the ring and he fights hard. And he does fight to win. He does come to win. Yes. But at the same time, it's like, Jared, bro, what the fuck are you doing? Fuck what Wilder did. Fuck, you bet on Parker. Let us start seeing you doing some shit in this fucking ring, in the training camp. Let's start seeing that kind of shit. Real shit, man. Real shit. Real shit. And that's the one thing, for damn sure. Even though, like I said, you still have a ways to go before you even can be even talked about the way that even people just believe in the right hand of Wilder. Nobody's talking about nothing about you. They're not saying shit about what Jared Anderson does. And Jared Anderson should be in these conversations with the top guys, but it's like you're holding yourself back. You're holding yourself back. You should be that next guy in line to be the next top heavyweight. Not just because you're from America, but bottom line, the heavyweight champ of the world. You should be that guy, but you don't want that. So, yeah, you can't. And then here's the thing, right? You can't say Jared Anderson's not one of those names that when you talk boxing, you have to say his name. No. And one thing you can't say is that you have done more than Wilder. You can't say that you've been in bigger fights than Wilder. Because even though that shit came late in his career, started with Fury and and then now with Parker, you don't have anybody with that type of you don't have any Parkers or Furies on your resume at all. You can say, well, Charles Martin once had a belt, but he was never worth a damn anyway. I fought him, he has more experience, and I won. So now I want to step my game up. How could you be thinking that way when it doesn't matter if you get belts or not? Which means you're not going to be fighting the top guys. What are you going to do? Fight the top guys and then say, oh, I don't want a championship belt? I don't want a title shot? Just pay me the money anyway and let me continue to, I don't want. No, that wouldn't make any sense. So Deontay Wilder, he's more accomplished than you are. He's made far more money in this sport of boxing than you did. And if the money, it's obvious the money is your motivation, then you need to understand that for you to get that money, you need to do what you need to do. It's not all about you. The fucking fans deserve better than that. So if people can come back and fight in their hometown and all that, and that's enough for them, that's okay. But you're always going to be overlooked. And that's my whole thing. At least Deontay Wilder has been noticed. At least Deontay Wilder does have people who know who the fuck he is. At least Deontay Wilder, even in this stage of his career, still got people, even biased people, but thinking that he can still go in there and just win because of the right hand. There's nobody talking about what Jared Anderson has. There's nobody talking about, you see what Jared Anderson did to that guy? No. He's yet to do anything. So that's what I would like to see from Jared Anderson. some fucking progress, some fucking yay. I'm here and I'm about to go in here and fight another a top guy, not some other motherfucker that we don't know nothing about. And the worst case scenario will happen for Jared Anderson is if he keeps going the route he's going and he gets near with somebody he's supposed to beat and then gets beat the fuck up. And they're going to say, see, here we go. So my thing with when you make tweets like that and you're talking shit or like bragging and laughing about it, people they're going to take you as a joke. And basically everything I'm saying now is exactly what they would say to Jared Anderson. At least Wilder has some notoriety. At least he got attention. At least people do believe in what he can do. Nobody's talking about what the fuck Jared Anderson. You got to watch out for his right hand, his left hand, his uppercut, his hook, his straight, nothing. Jared Anderson is just a guy that you don't even remember he boxed until he just happened to be on the card. And that's real shit. We all here in America. I'm being straight up with you. The same thing that Wilder went through in the beginning, the same thing with Jared Anderson. You have a conversation and say, what do you think about Jared Anderson as a fighter? Nobody knows who the fuck you're talking about. So, bottom line is, whether you could actually beat Deontay Wilder in a fight or not, you still haven't been on that same scale that he's been on to be able to even say your name with his name as if you got the credentials. Because even if you have the ability, we haven't seen you step up in competition. When he stepped up in competition, we see what happened to him. You should be the X factor. You should be cool with people saying, okay, Deontay's getting older now, but we got Jared Anderson over here in the States, and guess what? That motherfucker's solid. But instead, we get, I'm not dedicated to this sport. I don't love it, and I don't need it. I just do it, but I don't really care about boxing. I don't even like boxing. Okay. So, part of what I'm saying, too, is you have a lot more in common with Deontay Wilder than you realize. Yeah. On so many different levels. And all of them are not good. All of them are not bad. But you need to put yourself in a position where people are betting on you. At least there are people that was willing to bet on Wilder. Well, I'm pretty sure they pissed off now if they bet on him because he got his ass whooped. But you, on the other hand, have yet to accomplish shit. And I think everybody that's seen Jared Anderson fight that want to see him grow in this sport, want to see him in the ring fighting. I'm not giving a fuck about how much money you motherfuckers make. I just give a fuck about as far as, I didn't give a fuck. I just love to watch good fights. But other than that, yeah. So I gotta say in favor of Dr. Sleep, man, you need to go in the ring and apply yourself before you start fucking, talking shit and trying to make fun of motherfuckers when you haven't had one step-up fight yet of any significance. I remember I was watching an interview with Jared Anderson one time, and he made a comment about somebody asked him, the interviewer asked him about Big Baby Miller, like, did he get that from him or who had the name first? And then he asked Jared Anderson about fighting him and, like, what does he think about a fight with him? And Jared Anderson said fighting Jarrell Miller would be a step down for him. Okay. Once again, somebody want to tell you what they would do and a fighter who they can beat without actually having to prove it. This is exactly part of what I'm saying. That's the same shit Wilder does. Wilder, oh man, I'll beat this guy, I'll beat that guy. Ain't no need, it don't even matter to me. I don't see that guy the way y'all do. Oh, what apply to me don't apply to other boxers, don't apply to me. We heard Dean White when they asked him about, Dillian White fighting against Daniel Dubois, and Dean White said that was a slap in the face. That was like disrespect to Dillian White because bottom line, what is he saying? Daniel Dubois hasn't accomplished anything yet to get in the ring with White. Now, personally, I think Daniel Dubois will knock Dillian White the fuck out, personally. Okay? But at the same time, Daniel Dubois is not trying to not fight. He wants these fights. Daniel Dubois want to get in here and fight. You don't hear him talking about, you don't hear no other fucking heavyweights talking that shit about, I don't need a belt to validate me. You got a couple of knucklehead fighters in there that don't understand because they don't give a fuck about legacy. They don't care about none of that shit. It's all about just strictly the money now, plain and simple. So for most of these fighters, damn near all of them, okay? But, you know, the thing is, we've seen Dubois step up. And Dubois, to his credit, can say he fought Joe Joyce. He fought Usyk. He got in there with Big Pharmacy, Big Car Dealership Miller. Whereas on the other hand, Jared Anderson still hasn't stepped up. And remember, like I said, Charles Martin was a replacement for his original opponent. Okay, who took the fight on short week's notice. So, bottom line, just saying, y'all. That's what that. And I'm making this video for this reason. I'm not saying this shit to try to make Wilder fans happy. Fuck y'all. I don't care about that shit. No, that's not what I'm making this video for. So don't get it twisted. I'm saying I gotta say what the truth is. Jared Anderson has to accomplish more and do more. And if you're not gonna call Wilder out, if you're not gonna fight this guy, or at least try to fight him, because I don't think Wilder will fight him, and maybe he knows that too, and feel like, what's the purpose? He's gonna say no. I get it. And look, maybe something behind the scene, maybe nothing happened. But like I said, I've heard him talk so highly of Deontay Wilder before. And now all of a sudden, you know, he just wanted to make it known that he bet on Joseph Parker. So, you know, I don't know his relationship with Wilder. You know, I'm not saying this is another Alicia Baumgardner, Clarissa Shields type situation. Don't know, don't care. But just saying that this young brother need to do far more than what he's doing. And not just a Wilder thing. If you want to start making bets on anybody and making it known who you bet on and talking shit and popping up in front of a camera just to pop shit, it's like, what the fuck do you have going on in your boxing career right now that we need to give a fuck about? Because the same way you said you don't need to be champion to validate yourself, well, guess what? If people are not buying pay-per-views, if they're not coming to your fights, buying tickets to watch you fight, you have no career. So your career would be over if it wasn't for that. So if you don't feel like, if you don't understand and learn from the mistakes of the people before you, and realize, without the consumer, you have no career. None of these motherfuckers. So, whereas you don't give a fuck about belts, you don't give a fuck about stepping up, the fans will just start going, man, fuck this damn Jared Anderson dude. This motherfucker, he all about himself. He don't give a fuck. And he don't even want to fight the top guys. And that's exactly what we see right now. You got that in common with Wilder, because Wilder for a long time, we know it. Y'all got a lot of similarities, bro. What I'm telling you, good and bad. And honestly, far more people know who Wilder is than they do Jared Anderson. So if you basically that invested in betting on fighters and doing all that, you should be more invested in building your own profile. Because you are in that same position he was in right now. Like I said, you say Jared Anderson's name, people are like, who the fuck is that? Anyway, talk to me in the comment section, y'all. What y'all think about Jared Anderson with that comment? He never said, he didn't say Wilder's name, right? He didn't say his name, but he said, I told y'all didn't want to make this money, something to that effect. He's talking about for all y'all that didn't bet on Joseph Parker, stupid butts or whatever the fuck. Standing there brushing his hair, and I'm like, okay, that's a shot. That's a shot. You know, no need to make it known. That's like, honestly, you know, that's like, as a comparison, that's like somebody, let's say two people know each other, two guys know each other, and they're pretty much cool. You done seen them take pictures together. They, you know, one guy speaks highly of the other, and let's just say, you know, the one guy, let's put it to you like this. It would be like, let's just say that Deontay Wilder and Jared Anderson, let's use them for example. They're cool. They get along. Jared Anderson speaks highly of Wilder. Wilder and his girlfriend is arguing. Now, they don't necessarily have to be friends, but there's a mutual respect, right? At least it seems like it. And then one day, Wilder's girl gets mad at him, and she's not speaking to him. She's pissed. And whatever, Jared Anderson runs into her somewhere, and they get to talking, and she's complaining, and he tells her some shit like, well, you know, y'all basically, man, he don't know what he's missing. He don't know what he have or whatever. And she said, I just need some time away from him. I'm staying with my mom right now. I don't want to be around him. And then Jared Anderson go open them guts, right? And then all of a sudden he decides that he wants to go public and say, hey man, sometimes people don't know what they have. So when you don't want to do the right thing, somebody is stepping and do everything to your woman and for your woman that you won't do. But everybody knows who he's talking about. Like, wow. Then you want to say, I didn't mean nothing by it. I was just saying. No, you made it public for a reason, right? So either it's just immaturity or you did it for what? What are you trying to stir the pot up with? So if people try to get their name out there by doing some crooked or some shady shit, that's not something to support, even though people will, because people just love bullshit. I'm saying, like, real shit, man. Ever since I've first seen Jared Anderson fight and I spoke highly of the kid, I haven't seen him do much of anything but just talk shit and fight the same caliber opponents. So whenever that step of fight happens, that's up to him and his team, right? But I say be different from Wilder. Be different. You be that guy to say, okay, let your career show Wilder this is what he should have been doing. But we know that that's not your direction either. So really, you really don't have room to take a shot at the guy, man, to be honest with you. And that's what I'm saying. Because no matter what you made that bet, like I said, I bet on Parker as well. But at the same time, man, like, you know, I'm not friends or cool with Wilder. You spoke highly of him and seemed like you guys had a mutual respect and stuff like that, and took pictures with him, all smiling up with him and all that. So, just saying. Just saying. I think it would be far more, I know it'd be far more respectable for people to talk about Jared Anderson because of what he's doing in the ring. The dedication he showed to the sport. Not Mr. I tweet tough things to fucking welterweights, you know, lightweights, or I just make videos poking fun at people just to talk shit, but I really don't have nothing in my own boxing career that's even nothing worth talking about. Like, real shit. Real shit. Biggest thing that he did in his whole career was beat Charles Martin. And if you notice, people don't even refer to Charles Martin as a former champion. They don't even talk about it because it was nothing to talk about. Trevor Bryant held the belt, right? Okay, bottom line. So my point, we had guys, Shannon Briggs is the two-time world champion. When they talk about champions from back in the day, how often do you hear Shannon Briggs' name come up? And Shannon Briggs was a good fighter, but, you know, he had his shortcomings, had his share issues and all that. So, again, here's Jared Anderson. Because that guy, what's his name? Hunter? Is it Michael Hunter? Whatever his name is. He's never going to be the next American heavyweight champion. He's not going to be on anybody's radars, pumping him up, building him up. He's just basically someone that's there. And Jared Anderson don't see that he can be the guy to fill that void. He doesn't care to fill that void. So if you don't care about the sport, you don't care about the fans that's basically supporting your career, they don't have a reason to care about you. And they'll walk away from you just like anything else, just like anyone else. Because bottom line, you're just another guy with a pair of gloves and a pair of shorts that want a big paycheck and don't feel like you need to go through the top guys to get to it. Never fall in love with lies. Remember, the truth brings hate out of people, and I will catch y'all on the next video.